Here's problem 10. It says which side is the longest side in figure 6 below. We'll see if we can determine it. And before we start this is something we sometimes have a hard time with. Now there is a B right here that just got left off. So let me try to go to a little side example to help us figure this guy out here. Well, let's say that we had 3 people in an arm wrestling competition. Joe, Tom, and Ann. And let's say they all did an arm wrestling to see who was the best amongst them. And Joe crushed everybody. He was just like Studmeister. So Joe was the winner in this round 1 of arm wrestling. Well, then Joe had to go against a couple others. Let's say Joe then had to compete. So we had Joe is now competing with Rick and Susan. Now in this round, when Joe competed, Susan crushed everybody. Susan crushed Rick, and she really just beat the tar out of Joe. Well, if Susan crushed Joe, and Joe was the best among Tom and Ann, you know Susan is better than Tom and has to be better than Ann. Because if Joe beat these 2 easily, and Susan beat Joe, that means Susan could easily crush these 2, so we know Susan is the best amongst everyone. The same type of idea is going to work here. If I look at these triangles, let me look at triangle ABC. I see 63 degrees, 57, 60. Over here on this triangle ADC, I see 59, 60, 61. Well, I'm actually going to start here on the right. That might help us out a little bit. So I forget everything over here. I just see this triangle here. I see ACD. So I'm going to start with this guy. I see this is 60 degrees, this is 59, and this is 61. So amongst these 3 sides, this is the largest angle. So that means this center right here, this guy right here is the champion. He is the longest leg of the triangle. Since the angle opening here is 61, the side across from it must be the largest side. So we know it's the longest side right here. But now when we go to the second round of competition, and we're comparing A, B, and C's side. Now, here we have 63, 57, 60. This is the largest angle. That means the side across from it must be the largest amongst these 3. So now this side BC is the largest side. This is bigger than that guy and bigger than this guy. Well, remember, this guy was bigger than these 2. So if this is bigger than this guy, who is bigger than these 2, and is bigger than this one, we know this side must be the largest side amongst all 5 sides. So in this case, the answer is going to be line segment BC is the longest side there. And again, I tried to help you figure it out with this little arm wrestling thing. When we first looked at it, this side was the biggest amongst A, D, and C on that triangle. But then when he went into competition on this part, he lost to this side right here, BC. BC was bigger than that was. So you know BC is the longest side in the entire picture. So there's problem 10. Hopefully that helped you. We will work on this because I know some of us struggle with it. But that's okay. With time and just thinking things through and more practice, you can get it.